I'm carrying on a trail behind our house, like pepper spray, like one of those birdie chirpers, literally a handheld axe. Like, what did I need an axe for, Taylor? I hate to even admit that, but like, I was so nervous. So then I was like, okay, you got an axe. This isn't normal. This isn't just your normal anxiety. And then I started to put 2 and 2 together of like, wow, maybe your hormones are a little bit out of whack. That's kind of when it clicked. I think maybe the axe was the breaking point.
Yeah. Hey friends, my name is Kelly, mom of 2 and the host of this podcast. And today, before we get into introducing our guest, my lovely friend Taylor, I wanted to do I had no idea for the week. Let's talk sicknesses, because a lot of us are in this season, and maybe not by the time this comes out, because it'll probably come out like 2 months from now. And right now it's right the week before Easter, but we just got over a sickness. And one of the things that has shocked me since having kids is how everybody can get like the same sickness, but have completely different symptoms. It's just wild. Like if you get a stomach thing, I get stomach pains, like horrible, awful, gut-wrenching stomach pains, whereas my oldest, she is the puker, and that's super fun. And then my youngest is like the other end. If you're a parent, you know, this talk won't bother you, but hopefully not anyways. And then my husband just doesn't get anything usually. Why? Like, I don't know how. He's just got like such a rock solid immune system. It's crazy. But anyways, that's I had no idea for the week. Every sickness can be so different, even though it's the same sickness. Oh yeah, and then I had a super fun experience with this last sickness. I didn't know my daughter was sick at the time, and went and gave her a kiss, and she like grabbed me, like pulled my head in, gave me a kiss, and then sneezed directly into my mouth, as with like pursed lips into my mouth. And that was a new one for me. So that was super fun. But anyways, so today I'm joined again by my friend Taylor. If you haven't listened to the first episode, please go back and listen to that one. It just kind of sets it up for today's episode, and it was so good. I just loved chatting with her. But today we're going to be going through her postpartum experiences and some of the challenges she had with that, like with breastfeeding, bottle refusal, rage while breastfeeding, and then just going through like mental health in general and postpartum anxiety experience and all of that. So let's get to it. Taylor, thanks for coming on again today. We're going to just dive right in and get started. So for the postpartum anxiety then, did you have a history of anxiety prior to that?
So, yes, I did. So I was like I was a college athlete. I was like a perfectionist. I think that like my life was pretty anxiety filled all throughout college. When it hit me postpartum, I was pretty familiar with what was happening. But I would say it's like a whole new level. It truly was. Like my anxiety in college was, it was just different. When I started to experience it postpartum, it was like almost debilitating. I would be going in stores literally looking for like an exit strategy, or like, was this person following me a little bit too long? I would just get like a weird random gut feeling. I would literally leave my cart, leave stores. Like it was pretty debilitating. You just start thinking about the worst case scenarios. You have nightmares about it. You don't sleep. And that's just like her safety out in the world. But then you like think about SIDS, and SIDS could happen. Yeah. And then you're just like, is she breathing? She hasn't woken up in 2 hours. Is she breathing? You check for a pulse. You reach over. You're like, okay, all right, we could go back to bed for another hour just to do this all over again.
Yes. Had you heard of postpartum anxiety prior? Like, obviously you knew anxiety, but had you heard of postpartum anxiety before?
Sure haven't.
No.
Didn't hear.
I hadn't either. So what were you thinking when like this was going on? You were like, obviously knew it was anxiety, but did you put 2 and 2 together? Like maybe this is related to, you know, having her, or, you know, postpartum, or
not right away, at least. I would say like, I think I played it off almost as like, oh, this is just like the motherly instinct, the protective nature. And then I was just like, no, this is like almost to the point of like debilitating. Like this is to the point of like I'm carrying on a trail behind our house, like pepper spray, like one of those birdie chirpers, literally a handheld axe. Like, what did I need an axe for, Taylor? I hate to even admit that, but like, I was so nervous. So then I was like, okay, you got an axe. This isn't normal. This isn't just your normal anxiety. And then I like started to put 2 and 2 together of like, wow, maybe your hormones are a little bit out of whack. So that's kind of when it clicked. I think maybe the axe was the breaking point.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I think for me, because I had it as well, and I did not have a history of anxiety.
Yeah.
But it hit me when I was like obsessing over outlets. Like if I saw an open outlet, like I could not think of anything else but that outlet, that it was not covered and that she might stick her finger in and get zapped or something. Like it was wild. And I was like, why am I so obsessed with these outlets? Like I would like in a baggie, I would carry around little outlet covers. And if I would go to people's houses and they didn't have outlet covers, I would put them in. It was bad, but yeah, so I can relate in the sense of that like moment. You're like, oh my God, what's going on here? So
what is happening?
Were you having any, like, I know sometimes anxiety can present in the physical aspect. Did you have any of that or no?
I didn't have any like panic attacks or anything like that. I would just say like the biggest thing was like heart racing and then like that shortened breath. But that was just like when I was out and about. Like I would say that there was like, and I vividly remember it. We went to like a Barnes and Noble, right? Like a super innocent place. We went to a Barnes and Noble, but I was there with my mom and my sister. And I remember like looking for a book and I was just like, okay, if someone were to come up to me right now and try to grab my baby and the car seat, what book would I use? How would I get out of here? And I just remember like my heart racing, my shortened breaths. And I was just like, we have to get out of here. I literally like went up to my mom. I was just like, we have got to go. And I didn't have a panic attack, thank goodness. I do have like the coping mechanisms to now like work through those because of what I dealt with in college. So I think maybe that's it, like grounding myself and like knowing those coping mechanisms. But I would say maybe that's probably why I haven't had it, because definitely dealt with some crazy stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've dealt with some of the, like, initially it was the plugs, but then like my heart rate would just like skyrocket and I would almost feel like I was having a panic attack, and it was like over nothing. Okay, what's going on? This is wild. But I did not have those tools, so I had to go see someone, and then the pandemic hit. But that's a whole nother thing. But
whole another set of anxiety.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, speaking of, then with the pandemic, did that like heighten things? Or oh wait, no, you were in the middle. Were you in the middle of it?
So I had her in
15 months ago. Yeah, so it was already a thing.
Yeah, I had her in 22. I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it? What year is it now?
Such a valid mom question.
Oh my goodness.
It's 2024.
Oh no.
I'm crying.
Oh no.
That was phenomenal. Oh my gosh.
That mom brain.
Yes.
That's the mom brain.
I'm not alone. Yeah, so it's 2024.
Okay. Then yes, I had her in 22. I would say it didn't like affect us like deeply. There was just no, I would say that it didn't like really affect us too much, actually, now that I think about it.
It was old news by that time.
Yeah. I was like, I don't even think I took different precautions like when I gave birth or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Were you allowed to have like I know when I had Ara, which was like now 2.5. So I had to think about it. 2.5 years ago. They still wouldn't let like Rhea come in. And they would only allow one guest at a time, which was annoying because, like, you know, when my in-laws came, like only one of them could come up at a time, which was weird.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, wait. So you said you had a little bit of the depression side of it too?
Mm-hmm.
So what was your experience with that then?
Yeah, that one was like pretty brief. That piece really just came from just like mourning your old life. Your day is so different. And then you get that anxiety of like, you don't eat breakfast at the normal time. Your coffee is now cold all the time. Maybe that's why I'm a big iced coffee girl.
Yeah.
Because it just stays cold.
Smart. Yeah.
But you like mourn the life that you had, and like, yeah, I would say that. And then dealing with that body dysmorphia and like that anxiety around like bouncing back, and that bounce back culture, I would say that heightened everything of just like, I felt like I was doing nothing right then. Like I couldn't even work out the same. I had anxiety around my kid 24/7 early on. It was just like nothing was going right. So I would say like that depression and that anxiety, you just worry so much more. You got to protect this whole human that they sent you home with no advice, no resources.
Yeah.
I have gone through like therapy for many, many years. So the depression side, I was able to ground myself, just staying insanely present with Thea and like realizing how beautiful this life is. It's okay to mourn the life that I had, because this journey, this life is way more beautiful. I just don't have the body or the schedule that I used to have, and that's okay. It just took a while for me to get there to the point of saying that that's okay. So I think that that's where that depression came in, of just like,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right. Before we get back to the episode, if you're enjoying it so far, please take a quick moment, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification too, so you get more episodes like this in the future. So is the anxiety portion something like you're still struggling with at all? Or is it something that, you kind of worked through?
I would definitely say that I feel like a little bit always going to be there. Just not as debilitating as it was. I was like recently just talking to my friend about this. There are still those like intrusive thoughts, but nothing to the point of like, I don't carry my axe anymore, if that's what we're getting to.
That's good here. You know what though? And like we kind of were talking about this behind the scenes the other day when I had posted that reel about like the safety and like women and whatever, and it is a thing. Like it's a thing that we have to deal with, boy parents as well. But like, I don't know, something about having girls, it's like so scary.
Yes. And this also came up in conversation. I think it's way worse because females get a different side of the world. And like, I don't care what anyone says, the stuff that we deal with, the comments that we get, the things that we need to be aware of, we see the world a little bit differently. So now that you're raising a daughter in that world that you had to like live through and guard yourself, protect yourself, toughen some really hard spots in yourself, you're now like, how do I now do that for myself? How do I do that for my daughter? And like raise her to be strong-willed and not to be so afraid and have anxiety around it, but like also prepare her, because this is the reality of the world that we live in. So how do we do that? So I think that it's so different raising a girl. It is. I really do feel that. I don't have any boys.
Right.
So
same,
maybe,
but like
so maybe I'll feel different, but I don't know, because the world is so different for a female. And I think every female knows that. So
yeah, especially any female that has been through some crap. You just you see it totally differently.
You do.
Like honestly, when we found out with Rhea the first time, like we did a gender reveal and I was like, I'm totally having a boy. I had a dream about it, so I'm totally having a boy, and I was all excited and whatever. And then I see pink, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now what? Like I was instantly scared. Like I was like happy, obviously, like, oh, a girl, like it's gonna be so cute, whatever. But like that fear was instantly there, because I'm like, I know how it is as a woman and as a girl growing up, like, oh, it's hard. And it was like, gosh, it's a whole set of challenges that I'm not sure I'm ready to face, but like we're gonna do it anyways. And here we are. And yeah. So just constantly having to be aware. And it's like you said, like I don't think that men see that as much. Luke kind of makes fun of me because he's like, your keys are crazy. Like I got my pepper gel, I got like a window breaker, I got a hidden like pocket knife, I got like all this stuff. And he's just like, what? And I'm like, but you don't understand how easily women can be, you know, overpowered or like whatever. All these things can happen. And just you have to be prepared and aware. And like you said, raise them to be not afraid, but aware and confident and all of that. So it's a whole different ball game with girls.
It totally is.
So when you were kind of experiencing those things then with the anxiety, I know like you've said before, like don't Google whatever, but did you Google?
I had to.
Yeah. You're like, what's going on? What's happening now? Did you find comfort in what you found and like seeing other people like, oh, hey, I'm not alone in this? Or did you see the opposite and kind of be like, am I the only one experiencing this? What was your experience with that?
So I would say my mom's probably the one who like exposed me to that idea of like your hormones are just kind of crazy right now. So just like find some peace in that. And then I started to do like research, but like full transparency, no one's like really open about that. No one's really open about the struggles. That's my biggest issue with social media right now is it's like such a highlight reel and like all of my friends are like having babies and we're in the same season of life and like no one's transparent about what they're going through. So like I didn't feel like I connected to anyone. I didn't get any peace in that other than knowing like, okay, well, at least I have a name for it. At least I know that this is what's going on and like do the best you can to use your coping mechanisms when you need them. But again, this too shall pass and take it as like part of your journey. But I like made a promise about myself. If anyone were to ever ask me, I'm going to be fully transparent about it. I will like always tell you that, yes, having a kid is beautiful. Birthing is beautiful. All of it is beautiful. There are some really ugly sides to it as well. Like that anxiety can possibly come with it. And yeah, social media can be so dangerous in so many ways. And there's so many things that I see where if you don't relate to it, that you're like, what's wrong with me? You know? Yes.
It's so bad. And like, we got to just stop comparing and stop letting these reels and these other things make us feel bad about ourselves. Like the clean house one. I've seen people being like, you know, if you have a clean house, then your kids aren't happy and like, whatever. I'm sorry. Like some people just need to clean their house to keep their sanity and they do it with their kids. They do it as a game with their kids. That's what I like to do. Is my house a disaster right now? Absolutely. It's terrible. But do I like to pick up at the end of the day? Yeah, I sure do. Because that helps my mental health. And are my kids happy? Yes. But why are you putting it out there that if somebody has a clean house, that you can't trust them because like whatever, you know, if you have clean house, you see that you're comparing like, oh, should I not be as clean? Like I feel bad about this now. Or other people on the other side, oh, well, they have a super clean house. Maybe I need to clean my house more. It's like, no, do your thing. Like
do what works for you.
Comparing. Because it does. It adds on to this like mental pressure and this anxiety and this depression and all of it. And it's like, oh, I get very tired of the stuff I see on social media sometimes. I just want to see real content. And it's just, there's not a lot of that out there.
No, there isn't. I totally agree with that. And I like feel with that, like when you see that stuff, you have to ask yourself, like, do I even really want that? Like, I don't even really want a messy house. My kids are happy, but like for my mental sanity, like I don't want a messy house. So if you're telling me that in order for me to have happy kids, I have to have a messy house, I don't even want that.
Yes. You could just tailspin with social media. You have to be so careful.
Totally.
Because it really can, you know, especially as a new mom. Oh my gosh. It's so bad.
God. It is. It
you
is.
See all the people's pretty pictures and like, I know what it probably took to get those pretty pictures, but y'all aren't sharing about that.
Nope.
Which is okay. Not everybody has to, but we're doing it now. So
yes, but that's the journey we're on. So
yeah, right.
Introducing the new Mom Talk podcast, your ultimate guide to navigating the journey of motherhood with confidence and clarity. Hosted by me, Mariela Di Santiago, this podcast provides evidence-based answers to all those burning questions for expecting, new, and first-time moms. From pregnancy to postpartum, breastfeeding to sleep training, we've got you covered with insightful discussions and practical advice. Tune in to the new Mom Talk podcast and embark on your motherhood journey with knowledge and empowerment.
Okay, so let's shift gears to your breastfeeding journey then. I'm excited to talk to you about this because I know we've talked a little more, behind the scenes as you were going through some things and I had gone through some things. But tell me about your specific challenges throughout your breastfeeding journey.
Yeah, so like full transparency, I was never like one of those people like I didn't care. I genuinely didn't. As long as my baby was fed, I didn't care. In the hospital, I tried to latch her and it hurt so bad. And I wasn't able to see a lactation consultant. That is the one thing that I think COVID did affect. There just weren't as many lactation consultants on or like in the building. They just kept saying that they were short-staffed with them. So the one lady who actually came in to help me was a new mom who just got back from maternity leave, also on her breastfeeding journey. And I mean, she was like very helpful and just like could hurt to start. We could try and get you like a nipple shield to try and help out. It didn't work. So in the hospital, it wasn't very helpful. Then a lactation consultant did like see us in the hospital when we were in postpartum. And she literally just looks over me and she goes, looks good. Looks good. Everything's good. I'm like, no, this is like insanely painful. Like, is it supposed to be like this? She's just like, well, if you want, you could just try and pump. I was like, no, I want to know if she's latching. Because if she's not latching, that's not like pumping isn't solving this issue. Like, so she went on her way. I didn't say anything smart alecky. But then when we got home, I always tried to latch her. I don't even know like why it was so in my head of like, it just became something that I really wanted to do. I don't know what switched. I can't explain it. It was just something that like, I just wanted to try and I wanted to give it a good go. And again, I didn't have like any resources for it. Random, but my husband was going to see a chiropractor at the time. She's a mom of 3. He was just, talking with her like, yeah, we're just struggling with the breastfeeding. Taylor really wants to do it, but it's causing her a little bit of anxiety because she feels like she's not getting enough milk. She's not latching, all this stuff. So that chiropractor actually gave Jake a lactation consultant who came to our house. I know, it was super, super great. She came like 3 times. She's just like, I know it hurts. I know it's painful, but your baby is getting the milk that she needs. It is happening. I know it doesn't feel good, but we could try these certain things. So she gave me like a nipple cream and then like those little silverettes, those silver things that go on your nips.
Oh, okay. To like it's cool or whatever, like the
girl, I don't know what it does, but it definitely felt like it was cooling. So
okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I didn't get those.
Yes, I recommend those. Those. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something with the silver that I don't know, but it does help. It still hurts, but like we're 6 weeks into this journey now, so we're just gonna stop. Like I literally shut everything out. I was like done researching. I was done with the lactation lady, and I was just like, Thea, you and I, babe, we're gonna figure this out. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe you're just like a little baby and you got to learn to latch and whatever it is. But as soon as I like took that pressure off and I was just like, we're going to figure it out. And if we need to resort to a bottle, we will. And we did. And we did that for a while until she started her bottle refusing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Before we go on to that real quick. Yeah. A comment about the lactation consultants in the hospital. I did not have a good experience with them either. Even the second time around, I thought, oh, maybe it'll be better. They were not helpful at all. No. But at least like for me anyways, the home lactation consultant like helped so much. Like even with like mouth stretches. I don't know. Have you heard of tongue ties?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you like research that at all with her or?
Yeah. So I was told she had a little bit of a tongue tie, but so one lactation lady said she had cheek ties, tongue tie, lip tie. And then the second lactation lady said, no, just like a tongue tie.
Okay.
But she said it was like very subtle. So I didn't like go into it anymore.
Sure. Yeah. For me, at least, that was one thing that really helped. Like we didn't do the you can get like a procedure done for it where you get it like lasered off or something. And then you have to do all this stuff. We didn't do that, but she gave me some stretches to do. And they were like so amazing. Like I would do it right before I fed her and just like, I don't know, it just like opened her mouth up better or something. And it really helped. So I was able to continue it. But yeah. And then what you were saying before about the drive to like do it, I was the exact same way. I was like, either way, it's fine. I'll do formula if I need to, but like it would be nice to breastfeed, but whatever. And then it switched. And I think part of it was, at least at the hospital, they were like pushing it so much to the point where like I was like, she is gonna die if I give her formula. Like
oh my God.
They were so crazy about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, but yeah, in my mind, I switched to, and I was like, I have to make this happen. I don't care what it takes. If I could go back, I would be like, get yourself like a home lactation consultant. Say they're your cousin, have them visit because the people in the hospital, like, maybe not all of them, but you know, they're just going one room to another and whatever, like no big deal. Yeah. But these other people are like, they care. They follow up with you. Like they're with you on your journey. And if you need them, like they're there. So with the bottle refusal, tell me a little bit about that, what that was like.
Yeah, that one was like super interesting. So she was taking a bottle and then all of a sudden randomly like refused it, which was like really interesting for my husband. At that point, I was like back at lessons and he's just like, she's just not taking a bottle. She's not taking her pacifier, not taking a bottle. And I'm like, super strange. Like she was taking it yesterday. She took it this morning. Like, I don't know what happened. Fast forward. She never took a bottle. She never took a bottle moving forward. And everyone was just like, oh, you just got to try to find a bottle that works for her. Try to find a new nipple. I kid you not, we spent like well over $200 on different bottles.
Oh my gosh.
Different nipples, different sizes. Like we tried everything. We offered it to her every single day. And this girl for sure, she's our child. Most stubborn girl I've ever met. Yeah, she's a good one, but very stubborn, never ended up taking a bottle. And I mean, good thing she like took to a straw very, very quickly and to sippy cups very quickly. So we introed those pretty early, but at that point it was like, I mean, we're still in it, babe. So
she's just like, this is not happening.
Yeah. I'm still not taking a bottle. Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, that had to have been stressful going through it. And like, you know, especially if you're trying to be away for any length of time. And then she's just refusing. Oh my gosh. Wow. Did you have to like change up your schedule or anything? Or like, how did you make it work?
So I would say up until she started eating solids consistently. So up until about like 7-8 months, I wouldn't be away from her for more than 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Which was like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you make sacrifices for your kids, but like, so like my lesson schedule, I had to be very tedious about like my drive time, how long I could be there. And like, you know me, I'm very passionate about what I do. So I used to be like with my lessons way longer than I needed to. Just because we would talk and I'd like, you know, whatever. And now I'm like, okay, 30-minute mark, we got to go because I can't be running behind. I have to schedule all this. Yeah. So then even if I needed to go to the store, she was either with me or it was Amazon.
Yeah. Oh man. So one of the other challenges that I wanted to talk about with the breastfeeding, you had mentioned that you were having some like, would you call it rage or how would you describe it?
I would describe it as rage.
Yeah. And this was while you were nursing. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, it was only when I had like a letdown. If you're breastfeeding, you kind of know what I mean in the sense of like, you know, when your breast is having like a letdown, your baby is chugging at that point. In that moment, if my dog was breathing wrong, I was pissed. I was angry. I was like, get out of this room. Like, and I mean, I love my dogs. They're also my children. So like, that was tough. That was like very tough to even then like, okay, why am I so angry right now? I didn't even know that that was a thing. I genuinely had no idea that that was a thing until I then came across something. I don't know. It had to have been something that you posted.
Probably.
You had to have posted about it.
One of those I had no idea things.
Yes. Yes, because then I was just like, oh, there's a name for this. There's a name for this. Yeah, it was so interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. I think, maybe I'd post something and you had reached out and you were like, oh my gosh, I experienced that. And I'm like, no way. But yeah, there's a name for it. I'm going to, is it DMER? DMER?
Yes, something like that.
So dysphoric milk ejection reflex.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had seen it. I can't even remember which creator was talking about it, but I had seen it on hers and I was like, what the, like, I have never heard of that before either. Like, I had no idea that was a thing. And yeah, and then crazy, like that you've experienced that too. But yeah, it's a thing, like with the letdown and, you know, feelings of rage and very irritable and whatever. So like, how long was it only while you had the letdown or was it the whole time that you were nursing?
I feel like it was only, I don't know, it lasted like 2 minutes, but it was like, I'm not like an angry person. So
sure.
It was like so wild. It was so wild to experience, but it would like kick in and I'd be like, why am I so angry? Like, where did this even come from? And then I would probably ponder that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And some people, it sounds like they have more of like depressive versus the rage, but like there's a whole slew of like emotions that you can go through. So you went on to then have, you know, a totally successful breastfeeding journey. Are you still nursing?
Still going strong.
Yeah. Nice. Good. Yes. What do you think is like the biggest factor in that? Just like your perseverance or what was the biggest help through that?
Yeah, I definitely would say it was just like my will of just wanting to do it and then being like, okay, listen to my body, listen to her, like pay attention more to that connection and then find a lactation consultant that actually like works for you. I would say that was like a huge one. And I just needed mine really for peace of mind that she was getting enough milk and that was enough for me to be like, okay, we're doing this. And then, yeah, now 15 months in, I mean, now it's really just like comfort. I feel like she really only wants it right now during the day because of her molars. But like we were to a point where she would like completely cut it out and like during the day and only wanted it before like bedtime. And I was just like, that's kind of like really sad. This is the end of it. And then she started getting her molars. And then I was just like, okay, it's not the end of it. And I feel a little bit better now.
Yeah.
Because I do love it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Stopping rapidly is like so not good. And I'll go into it on one of my own episodes because it was wild. But I went through where like Ara bit me and I like screamed and I was like, ouch, you know, like because it hurt. And it scared her so bad that she let go. She looked up at me and she just started sobbing. And this was at like 10 months. Never breastfed again. She refused, completely refused.
No way.
And I would try. And like, if I even like put it closer, she'd be like she would like do like a little bite. And then she would like look at me and I'm like, don't bite me. And then she would start crying. And then she just like completely refused. So yeah, I had to like kind of rapidly figure that out, you know, because she wasn't even a year. And so I had to switch to pumping, which I hated. I hated pumping so much. But it was just like such a drastic drop in my supply too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that caused like post-weaning depression, which I did not know was a thing.
Oh, great. Great.
But no, you're good. Like if the slowness of it, you know, I think that is what's really like helpful is just going very, very slow. And this just like friend to friend.
Yes,
you know,
I appreciate that.
Because that was insane. I didn't know that was a thing. And it was wild. The feeling of like stopping regardless is like very intense, you know, that like, just a chapter, you know, closing. But then just to have it so rapidly like that was not fun either. But I'll go into that another time. So postpartum in general then, if you could go back to the time before you had Thea, what advice would you give yourself?
Go in with no expectations. Go in with none, because it's not going to go the way that you think it is. And then the second one is know that fed is best, but like if you do want to continue with breastfeeding, you utilize your resources, and then just know that is coming from a place of like will and perseverance of just like figuring it out, you and your baby. And it is a pretty lonely road because your husband can't help you, your partner can't help you, no one can other than that lactation consultant, but she could only do so much as well. So just know that journey is pretty lonely, and that is just you and your babe. So if you choose to do it, you got it. And then last thing, I would say that like when people come to visit you, be direct with like your needs. Be direct with like what you need at that moment. You don't need someone to hold the baby. You don't need that when they're sleeping. Like, I need help with the dishes. I need help with doing laundry. I like want to take a shower unbothered and not watching the monitor. Can you please do that while I shower? Just be very direct with the people that are coming to visit your baby. I mean, they love you. They support you. They are not going to be disappointed if you ask them of those things. And I'm sure that they'll be very willing to help. It's just something that I wish I would have done way sooner. Right. Now I have no remorse. But early on, I was nervous. Like, I was nervous and embarrassed of like, I can't be a mom and do it all. So I was like very hesitant.
Yeah. Take the help because same. It's hard. It's hard to accept that help, but it is so necessary. So
totally.
I like that. All right. Thank you so much. I've loved chatting with you.
Absolutely. You are a rock star. Thank you for having me.
All right, friends, if any of this has resonated with you today, please take a moment, give us a comment, let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear about it. Also, if you like this one, check out this one too, because it's really good and I think you're going to enjoy it.